This is the Cliff Yates Show. Personal growth, motivation, inspiration, and philosophies for a great life.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. This is the Cliff Yates Podcast, and today's message is it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships and everything in business, life, family, friends. Take care of your relationships and a lot of great things are going to happen for you. I'm going to give you a couple examples today in my own life that I'm going to share with you, and maybe, just maybe, you can use some of that in your own life, in your own business, in your own family. And to be constantly creating relationships. You should always be constantly creating relationships. It's like sowing seeds. Some are going to grow. Some are going to fall on fertile ground. Some are never going to grow. Some are going to fall on the rocks. Some the birds are going to get. But some are not only going to grow, they're going to reap a great harvest. And we never know which ones those are. And that's true in relationships as it is within a lot of things. And I know it was true for me when I first started getting into personal growth, first started turning my life around, starting to get into self-development, and I started learning how important it was to create great relationships, and I started reaping the benefits of those relationships. And once you start doing that, you're going to get hooked on constantly creating great relationships. Now, in the LA Sheriff's Department, I started utilizing this concept of creating great relationships. And I remember being at the West Hollywood Sheriff's Station and stopping in the captain's office. Now, at each different sheriff's station, it wasn't always easy to get into the captain's office, right? There's always some soft fence there, either in the form of a secretary or an operations sergeant, someone who was there to kind of guard the portal of the captain's office so that people just like me couldn't just stop by. Because in usual circumstances, people are trying to get to the captain for a decision, to throw some problems at him. Maybe, in any case, it's going to disrupt his day and distract him from what he's supposed to be and or trying to do. But I remember in West Hollywood going by, for some reason, the captain's door was open and it was available to wherever I was going. And I saw that the captain at the time, Captain Odenthal, was at his desk. So I stopped at the door and peeked in. Hello, Captain Odenthal. How are you? I'm Cliff Yates. Yeah, I know who you are. You used to work at Linwood, and then you went to, Walnut and Temple. We had a short conversation. Yeah, and I knew he had just come from Lenox Station. I asked him, how are you liking it here in West Hollywood? And he said, well, I'm loving it here. How about you? And I go, I love it. This is great. I mean, we've got this available. We got this. I'm having a great time. But I saw your door open, and I just wanted to stop in and say hi. See, I peeked in, had a short chat, then I got out. That was my intention, to stop in, have a short chat, and get out. And that's what I did. Now, how did that differentiate me from everybody else? Everybody else always goes to the captain's office because they have a problem. They need help in doing something. They need the captain to lend a hand in making a decision that's going to help them, their career, their unit in the station. If you just stop by to say hi, you've already differentiated yourself. You've made a conversation with him without wanting anything. Did I need anything? Did I want anything from him? No. Hey, stopped in, saw your door open, stopped in to say hi. It was part of creating a relationship. And then I find out, of course, that he knew who I was. He knew where I had worked. And I recognized that I knew where he had worked and who he was. And asked him a question in passing, how are you liking it here? And then I ended the conversation myself. Didn't drag it on too long, got out of there. Started developing a relationship. Now, at the time, or later, I ended up working at the substation to the West Hollywood station. And one of the people that I worked with was the detective at the substation, who was a great guy, always impeccably dressed, 2 master's degrees, had been a training officer, a great detective. And I mentioned my conversation to him, and he said, I've been at this station for 5 years, and I've never once talked to the captain. Now, I've heard this same person complain a little bit about things that he wasn't getting, things that weren't happening, and yet he just related to me. He never made the effort to have any connection with the person that could do things for him. See, that's what happens when you start developing relationships with people that can do things for you. People are going to put a label on that as kissing ass, kissing up, brown nosing. No, you're developing relationships with people who can do things for you. Now later, another captain came in. Captain Castro came in. And 5 years earlier, I had worked with her husband, who was a lieutenant at a previous station that I worked at. So I worked under him. I had developed a relationship with him, a working relationship only, but a good one because I fostered a good relationship with him. Not knowing that 5 years down the road, I would be working for his wife at another station. So you never know. When you're planting those seeds, you don't know when that harvest is going to come. But I stopped in and I saw her several times. Talked to her a couple times. Just to say hi. Did I want anything? No. Never asked for anything. Just trying to create relationships. Eye to eye, face to face, conversation to conversation. And controlling it. Controlling the time. I would get in, get out. Now, not knowing that years down the road, that there would be a harvest in that. So later, I didn't know a few years later that I would be working for the recruitment unit, and my former captain became a commander who was over the personnel bureau in the recruitment unit. And one of her units needed some help from the recruitment side, and I had an opportunity to be of help. Not ask for anything. I had an opportunity to put into that relationships, and I did. Now, not knowing that just a short 3-4 years down the road that I was trying to get promoted from the deputy sheriff level to be a sergeant. I had taken the sergeant's exam, passed it. I took the oral exam, passed it, and now I was on a list. And now what happens is those list of potential sergeants are in a room with personnel commanders from throughout the department. And there's a large group of names on that board. And everybody on that board is qualified to be promoted. Now the personnel commanders have a job to do. They have to decide how to take people off that board. Everybody there is qualified and could be picked. Now it's hard to pare that list down. How do we do that? They got to take people off the board. Well, let's start with college degrees. He has one, he has one, she has one, she has one, he doesn't. We can take those people off. Now, luckily for me, my personnel commander was my former captain from West Hollywood, whose husband I worked under. The relationships that I had built, created, planted seeds years before in a continuous basis. Because how did I know this was happening? How did I know that she was in the room fighting for me? She called me at a break in the meeting. At a break in the promotion meeting, she called me and says, Cliff, how much college do you have? We're taking people off the board who don't have college degrees. Now I'm in the room. I'm actually fighting to keep your name on the board. I said, listen, I got about 58 units. I mean, I'm one class away from an associate's degree. And as a matter of fact, I'm about to apply for my last class. And she said, that's all I need to know. I got to get back in there right now. I'm fighting for you right now to keep your name on the board. See, you can't do things alone. You always need an advocate, wherever it is, what business it is, where you work. Even if you have your own company, you need advocates. I had an advocate in the room, kept my name on the board. I ended up getting promoted to sergeant. How important are these relationships that you create? You never know. You're planting seeds. And that's what you need to be doing. Always be creating relationships with an authentic intention, not in a fake way. If I go back to the real estate training, which is Very important for real estate agents, anybody in the business, to develop relationships with people so that they're trusted with a big money transaction. Could be life-changing. Could be a new home. Could be a change of a part of the country. A change of residence. So real estate people have to quickly develop relationships where people trust them. Now, you're going to find agents who try to create relationships not with an authentic intention. They do it in a fake way, and those kind of agents don't last long. So you always want to be seeking in an authentic way. You see somebody in the supermarket, Buffalo Bills. Hey, that's a great shirt. I like it. You go on your way, nothing develops. Could be the same conversation. Hey, that's a nice shirt. Buffalo Bills. And now that person says, yeah, I'm from Buffalo, New York. I'm down here on vacation. Do you live here? Yeah, I live here. Oh, where are you from? I'm actually from Rochester. We get talking. A relationship develops because I was constantly creating. I was throwing a seed out there. We don't know where or what's going to happen with it. So that's what you do. You try to create from an authentic position. Let's say in that same scenario in my captain's office. The first time I see a picture of him and he has a shotgun over his shoulder and he has some pheasants that he had shot. See, in the next conversation, I could say, hey, where did you get those pheasants? Where did you shoot those pheasants? Because I'm from upstate New York and I did a lot of pheasant hunting. Now, that's true. I didn't lie about that. That was an authentic thing. So we look for authentic connections that we can have with people that are real. You have to be on the lookout. You have to be looking. I'm always looking at people's jewelry, and I'm always looking at I always look at their watches. Now, I'm left-handed. Most left-handers wear their watch in their right hand. So when I see that, I say, are you left-handed? Yeah, I am. How did you know? You wear your watch in your right hand. Now, I'm left-handed, but I wear my watch in my left hand. But see, it's a conversation starter that comes from an authentic place, and you start to build a bridge. But just like leadership, you start being a great leader at your workplace, you can't confine it to that. You're going to start being a great leader at your house. You're going to start being a great leader with your family. And so you start developing great relationships in your business, at your workplace, with your bosses, with your employees, with the fellow people you work with. You're going to carry those communication skills, those friendship skills back home with you, back home to the family, to the husband, to the wife, mother, father, son, daughter, brother, sister, cousins. So always be creating great relationships. I'm telling you, it's a seed that you plant down the road. Harvest will come. Hey, that's the message for this podcast. Always be creating great relationships. The secret is in relationships. Thanks for checking into this episode, everybody. And if you haven't already subscribed on a podcast platform, maybe you're listening and or watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. And if you think somebody needs to hear this message, you think it's important maybe for them, please share it. It helps. All right, everybody. Thank you.